Hello everyone and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2017. I am Michael Schwahn.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember everyone that you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live on Facebook Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time. That is 7 p.m. on the West Coast and 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Yeah.
Yeah? That good, huh?
Yeah. It's pretty much the same as the past several days.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that good?
It says the live video is interrupted. Is that the same for you?
Just try reloading it. Normally it has a little hiccup right at the beginning. XSplit says that it's still like streaming it out.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's going.
yeah, it's normally just because it's trying to sort through the little streaming bits right there at the beginning. So if you did get booted out, just restart it.
Yeah, I did.
Cool. All right then. Anywho, so anything exciting happened today, good sir?
No.
No, not at all. Just life is terrible as you know it.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty over it.
Was work dumb?
I mean, just people at work, really, but
Sure.
I mean, that's just the general public.
That's fine, yeah. I had a similar day. I was super busy and was like watching the phones and things along those same times. But the thing that was really irritating is I went to lunch and I came back from lunch and our friggin' server was acting up, which includes our ability to like access the internet. So my email just kept on crashing and I couldn't get to like our website to go through our system to do anything.
So my uncle just said that I need a haircut, and I had been thinking about actually getting a haircut.
Yeah, you're gonna get one like mine?
I decided I was going to wait until after October because I fully believe we're not going to be able to make 150 in donations by that point. So I'm going to be able to keep my beard, in which case I get to dye it blue and be Dario Naharis from the books.
Okay. And then after that, you're gonna clean it off anyway?
No.
No?
No, not until we get 150 in donations.
So you're just gonna temp dye it blue, or you're gonna leave it blue?
I haven't decided yet.
Have you made sure that your work's cool with that?
No.
Okay. Just be careful.
But, I mean, it's just the beard. The mustache is going to be blonde.
No, okay. I just know that depending on the supervisors, essentially, and I mean Heather has pretty
Heather
unique.
seems pretty legit.
But it also doesn't mean that there's someone above Heather that doesn't have a problem with it. I mean, because like in Jennifer's office, you're not allowed to have crazy hair color, and I've not checked in my office because I don't care, but. So, just before you go, like, you know, dyeing it bright blue or dark blue or whatever, anyway, blue in general, be sure you check to make sure your work is going to be like, go home and shave that shit.
Make sure I'm not, allergic to it.
Yeah, sure. Make sure you're not allergic to it. On that same vein, though, yeah, I mean, if everyone is wondering what he means by we haven't hit 150, Nathan pledged that. So first off, I just realized we are really close to the thing that I have to do. And once we hit $100 a month in Patreon donations, I will do a terrible white boy rap right here on the show. It is not going to be freestyle. Someone's going to write it for me because you ain't getting crap if you're asking me to freestyle it. And if we get to $150 a month, Nathan is going to shave his beard.
On screen.
On screen, completely. He's going to shave it all the way off.
The picture behind me is not crooked, Uncle. It's exactly how I planned it to be.
We are sitting at $91. Before fees and stuff like that. After fees, it goes down to like 83 or something like that. But we're sitting at $91. So $9. Oh no, Brett in the chat room was like, "Oh boy, be right back." Yeah. So $9 puts us to $100 a month. We're not going to worry about making it hit $100 after the fees and stuff because fuck that.
No, it's just 100.
Yeah. In which case, then I am doing once a horrible, terrible white boy rap, and at 150, Nathan's going to clean shave his entire face.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you should probably get a haircut too, but that's not necessarily part of the deal.
Right. No, that will happen anyways.
Yeah. So just be aware of that if you want. Obviously, I realize, like, luckily mine is audio, so for the people at home that aren't watching the show live, cool. If you do want to catch the show live, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are live on Facebook. You can also scroll back through the Facebook feed to see previous videos. They're also all on YouTube. Just search iReadit on YouTube. It's one of the very first things that pops up because... yeah, I mean, it's a pretty unique name in the fact of that it's technically a sentence, but you're not putting any spaces in it. It's also a very subtle play on words since we get all of our stuff off of Reddit. But Reddit is spelled even worse.
And we all have read it.
Yep. Well, we hope so anyway. At least I have.
Yeah.
So that's what matters, I guess, that one of us has read it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because otherwise it'd be we read it.
And read the comments. Like any actual Redditor.
Right, exactly, 100%. I realized I never actually loaded up the iPad to hit the little buttons to say, you know, the numbers and stuff like that. I should get in there so that I can do... No, come on, there we go.
10.
Americans have decided that universal health care is a basic right.
This has been submitted by Plymouth 03 to Our Politics.
This isn't actually a result of any type of poll or like formal vote or anything like that. This is actually more of a basis of what has been the result recently in regarding healthcare legislation, with the massive amount of pushback regarding the deconstructing of Obamacare, especially considering the thing they were trying to push forward was we're not going to replace it with anything. We're going to give ourselves 2 years or 3 years or whatever it was to figure out a plan to replace it with, and that's when it'll be replaced. Since none of those made it through, the general consensus is, and also from the word on the street, is that Americans believe that healthcare to be a basic human right.
Because it is.
Here's my question: is I mean, I think that people get a little bit confused with what they probably mean, because like having what's the phrase that I'm looking for? How do I word this specifically? Getting treatment when needed is a basic right. I'm not sure if healthcare is a basic right.
Hoping that... Well, all right, so are you saying consecutive uses of a hospital?
If you need to go to the doc, like I forget what the name of the oath is, but if you need help, there is no medical place that will turn you away. Even if you walk in saying I am broke and can never pay the bill, they will, you know, still provide you care, even if they know that you cannot pay for it, because they will help people in need. Now they will send you a
Hippocratic oath.
Yeah, that's it. They will send you a bill forever, but you will still get the care you need. The idea between healthcare is that someone will help you pay for it. That is where this comes into question of, is health insurance a basic right?
I'm going to say healthcare.
Well, that's the thing, though. When we're talking about healthcare, they're talking that all of this is health insurance. Like, you can always go to the doctor if you need it.
I know.
So, I mean, healthcare
and
in
I'm
this case...
saying healthcare, people should have the right to be healthy. If that means that you have to go to the doctor's office 4, 5, 8 times a year, and you can't afford that, obviously, because of your cancer, then someone should be helping you pay for that fucking cancer.
Sure. And that's where the difference comes in. And people are really split on it once they actually realize what the difference is that if you have to go to the doctor, even if you have cancer, like, you can go to the hospital and they will help you get rid of your cancer, and then after that you'll have $180,000 or like a $2 million medical bill. So then the question comes, like you said, you do believe that you should have assistance paying that.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
People who are doing their jobs get paid. This way, it guarantees that they're getting paid.
Sure.
What needs to be fixed in that scenario is, the price of things. Because quite frankly, right now, they're absolutely batshit insane.
Yeah, they're bloated beyond all get out. Inflation's super huge.
Yeah. I don't feel going into a hospital and getting a fucking a saline drip should cost $500.
And it shouldn't. And in a lot of places it doesn't. But because of the way that corporate America works, they're happy to take advantage of a situation in which they can charge $500 for purified water.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So,
Which is fucking stupid.
and I mean, I think the question of having people help you pay for something would be much less of an issue if stuff wasn't grossly expensive.
Right. It's, oh God, so goddamn grossly expensive.
I mean, because like you can go and get surgery in other countries for like $1,500, $2,000, and like when it's that amount, even on the low end, you could probably figure out a way to pay that off over like 5 years or so. But it's when it's like, oh, this is going to be $50,000 because you're in America.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. You can, for a lot of things, including a lot of high-end cancers, you can get a plane ticket over to like Spain, then get your cancer treated, then stay in Spain for a year, and then come back and still pay less.
Yeah, the actual example I think you're thinking of is like someone like needing reconstructive leg surgery, I think is what they needed.
Yeah.
Or something like that, and they flew to Spain, had their leg reconstructed, and then realized that with how much it cost, they could fly to Spain, get the reconstructive surgery on their leg, live in Spain for a year and a half, come back to America, get their leg broken again, fly back to Spain for another surgery, and fly back to America, and it would still be cheaper.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that should not be a thing. People should be able to have their fucking health.
Well, and also, like, even, like, essential services. Like, I really want to get LASIK. I have had horrible eyesight since the 3rd grade. Like, horrible eyesight. And I want to get LASIK surgery done, but in America, it's still sitting around, like, $1,500 an eye. And if you go anywhere else, it's, like, $500 for the total surgery.
God, that's fucking insane.
Yeah. It's rather upsetting.
So my Uncle Ken goes, he pays out of his check $700 a month, then 20% of the bill, plus a $50 copay, and that is after he pays $2,500 deductible.
That is an awful plan, sir. That is real bad. I mean, I guess we have the fortunate thing of working with the state. The state actually...
I think my uncle's still a nurse. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I mean, like our benefits are pretty darn good. If you just choose the basic level, you pay nothing out of your paycheck. You have a 20% copay, and a $500 deductible. So I mean, like our plan is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I still haven't paid anything on mine, but that's you know.
Yeah, no, I understand.
They denied his insulin, and for him to pay, it is $300 a month.
Well, even when, like, the thing is for the majority of people, even when you only have to pay a percentage of it, it is still so much because so many people in America are broke. Like, they don't have any money. They're just trying to survive and eat.
It's bullshit how capitalism has crept into things that it shouldn't.
Yeah. So, one way or another, though. We'll see what happens, I guess.
I mean, I guess so.
4.
Trump says U.S. troops will remain in...
4?
What?
You hit the 4 button.
Oh.
9.
Trump says U.S. troops in Afghanistan will remain in Afghanistan as rapid exit would leave vacuum for terrorists.
This is submitted by Saucy Tryhard to Our World News.
Yep, so the idea is he even admitted in his speech today that he is, not holding true to one of his long-standing and largest campaign promises of that he would begin pulling troops out of Afghanistan as quickly as he could. In the announcement today, he is saying the exact opposite of that. They are going to stay in Afghanistan. There was apparently a leak of some sort earlier this week that he was going to be committing as many as more than 4,000 additional troops to the country. He did not comment on that in the speech, though, but basically saying that they need to reinforce the troops in Afghanistan so that they can be a bulwark against violence, and that if they reinforcement and push forward, then they can just lead to an end of the war instead of actually just withdrawing from it. Wanting to push deeper into Afghanistan and through Pakistan to try and cut down terrorist group safe zones.
Okay.
And also one of the things he is going to do or plans to do in terms of helping carry this out was that he would be giving more authoritative power to the generals so that they don't have to get as much approval for their actions through Washington, D.C. and can just do their jobs.
Okay.
So he wants to shift it to a time-based approach. So they basically like, we want to be out of there in 3 years. Do what you need to do to get out of there in 3 years. That is not the number he said. He didn't provide a number. He provided,
right, but he's saying, hey, we're shifting to a deadline.
yeah, he did not provide any specific details of the strategy that is going to be taking place or how they're going to be changing up the United States presence in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the surrounding countries. But that is where it stands currently. And he's been met with large amounts of criticism and massive backlash from some of his strongest supporters because of, I mean, this is the exact opposite of one of the things that he said he was going to do.
Yeah, no, he was saying he's not going to do this whatsoever.
Well, and
there he is, doing it.
Well, at the same time, like, one of the things that I even mentioned when he was on the campaign trail, and like he openly mentioned today in his speech, was like, you say one thing when you're on the trail, but things change when you're actually sitting in the chair behind the desk as the president. And that's something that I've commented on many of times, of that there's things you don't know, there's things you don't realize, situations that you are not privy to because no one besides the people that are on a need-to-know basis know anything about it. So, I mean, it does not surprise me in any way that, you know, he was like, I'm going to pull everyone out of Afghanistan, and got elected, and a whole bunch of people brought him, you know, reports that said, this is why we can't do that. And he went, fuck.
Well, damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, as much as I'd like to criticize him for it, there's no way that I can criticize him for this decision. I mean, especially if he did listen to his generals and stuff that said this is the move that we need to make. If you pull out of there, especially at a quick pull out, you are going to be undoing the progress we've made.
How many kids does he have?
Trump? I don't know, a lot.
Oh. I was gonna say his pullout game must be weak.
Dude, oh god. It's a pun. Yeah, Brett in the chat room says, I hate Trump, but I would agree with the choice. A sudden evacuation would likely be catastrophic. And that's what he said, too, is like it would be immensely more detrimental to everyone around the world if we just packed up and left.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not resolving anything by doing that. You're leaving just literally your mess strewn about.
He did make a clarification that they are going to be pushing forward to end the conflict, but he does not have any intentions of maintaining a presence there after the conflict is over or helping rebuild.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it depends on how your outlook of things are, because, I mean, a lot of things get completely ravaged and war-torn as the path goes on, and oftentimes in the past we've stuck around to try and help them put the pieces back together.
Yeah, we've always tried to help, you know, the places that we bomb into oblivion.
For the most part. I mean,
yeah.
in Germany, we were like, all right, we win. Screw you guys. You pay us.
I don't know. We helped the Japanese quite a bit.
Yeah.
We kind of fucked them up a lot more.
I think it's because we felt bad.
with Germany, they had, you know, a lot more support in the surrounding areas.
Yeah. Brett says, fire more expensive and ineffective missiles. I'm not certain what you're referencing. I mean, the Tomahawk missiles against the Syrian airbase had a very specific purpose of making sure that the biological weaponry couldn't get out of there. I
think he's talking about the mother of all bombs.
I mean, that destroyed an entire ISIS complex that was in the mountainside, so I don't know how that's necessarily ineffective either.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there might be situations that we haven't talked about or that I didn't read or hear about, but both of those served very distinct purposes. I mean, just because the MOBA only killed like 200 people or whatever, I know it wasn't many. It was a very important location, so.
Yeah, it was a small number compared to what people thought it was going to be.
Brett said.
At the same time. Oh, go ahead.
Brett said it was the Tomahawks. I thought they missed basically everything. That was intentional. They intentionally didn't necessarily hit buildings. They specifically blew up like doors, entrances, roadways, airways, airstrips to make the base inoperable, because they didn't want to damage like the buildings or anything, because they didn't know 100% for sure where the biological weapons were being stored, and you don't want to blow those up. So instead it was make it where the materials can't leave and then we can get in there. So because they weren't able to get them out anymore. They're not able to launch them, load them on a plane. The planes couldn't get out. They destroyed the roadways out, so they couldn't load them up on a truck and drive them out. It was shutting down the base rather than destroying the base.
And, I mean, it was shut down.
Yeah, it worked well. So, in any case, though, I have no criticism for Donald Trump of this announcement. I mean, this was one of his first primetime announcements since he became president back in January, and it's over a very sensitive, very important matter. I know that people are really happy to slam him over
literally anything.
Yeah, well, and also, you promised one thing on the trail, but you did another thing once you got into office. I understand where you're coming from, but also I have to give him the defense of things are different once you're in the chair, because, I'll reiterate again, you don't know what you don't know.
Oh, what? That's not true. I know exactly what I don't know.
Everything?
Because I know nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, glad we got that sorted out.
8,
Online hate crimes will be taken just as seriously as offline offenses in England, Wales.
This was submitted by Tragic Donut to our technology.
So, in the continued fight, I guess, against white supremacy, neo-Nazis, and etc., the Crown Prosecution Service is now going to be treating online hate crimes as seriously as offline offenses. This will be basically don't be a horrible racist person that wishes ill things on other people online.
Yeah, no, that's great. They already prosecute online hate crimes as is. Recently there is a parliament member who said some really fucked up shit about something, and he totally got kicked out of parliament and was had things pressed charges against him.
Sure.
I guess now it's going to be even worse.
Well, I mean, now the punishment will be more severe. It'll be in line with the things of if you were actively...
If you actually did it in person.
Right. Hate crimes are defined by the CPS and police as, quote, any criminal offense which is perceived by the victim or any other person to be motivated by hostility or prejudice based on a person's disability or perceived disability, race or perceived race, or religion or perceived religion, or sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation, or a person who is transgendered or perceived to be transgendered. They can include verbal abuse, intimidation, threats, harassment, assault, bullying, as well as damage to property. And by that definition, several of them will be able to be fitted as hate crimes that can be conveyed online as well in person, and they will be discriminating as such. So
I like that. I feel like that should be more in place to curb literal assholes on the internet.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they would go about prosecuting unless that, in some instances, like the member of parliament, it's a little bit easier. But in terms of just some random dude on 4chan, I'm not sure how you're really going to be able to realistically track that down. But I mean,
at best, you got IP addresses.
Yeah, at best. I mean, but at least at that venture, there is actual punishment that can be incurred. There is a level of risk you take when you be a horrible D-bag online.
I feel like this is more centered towards social media as opposed to things like 4chan.
I was just using it as an example. On social media, though, if it's on Facebook, you can probably pretty easily track them down. But in terms of on things like Reddit, 4chan, Tumblr, it will probably be a lot more difficult to identify and locate where someone is. The other things here is that this is specifically in England and Wales. I'm not sure if they wouldn't have jurisdiction over you if you committed a hate crime on someone in that lived in their country. So the actual amount of effect it has is extremely narrow. But I mean, it does still at least set some level of precedence.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like we should start implementing that here.
Timothy Stein in the chat room says, if you single out one person, it could be verbal abuse, yes, but just shouting hateful remarks online. Let's see, going back over how they define it, it is either by the victim or any other person, and it has to be motivated by hostility or prejudice towards a bunch of different things. I mean, so I'm not certain on the specifics of it. I mean, I imagine that if you're, running around saying, the Jews will not replace us, that's a kind of a rather racially charged thing. So,
Yeah, that's something that's really hard to, explain away.
yeah. So, I mean, I think it'll be a difficult thing to really follow through with and lead to a prosecution, but it does at least set that line there of, at least on a legal standard, saying we are not going to tolerate this online, even if we don't have a way to follow up on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a zero tolerance thing,
Brett says,
which is interesting.
Brett says, so there has to be a determined victim. I mean, sort of. It says, which is perceived by the victim or any other person. That is a very broad, vague definition. So, not necessarily.
The thing is they said the victim as opposed to a victim.
Sure. So, I don't know. Either way, like I said, at least just it's someone speaking up of, we're not going to tolerate this crap online. And that's probably all it's going to be. If they actually lead to a prosecution for this, awesome. I'm impressed. Good job. But I don't actually see it happening.
Yeah. No, I don't either.
Because that just sounds real difficult.
I mean, I feel like all of it's just going to be mostly social media.
Yeah.
7.
Game of Thrones director admits the show's timeline is straining plausibility.
This was submitted by Light Dizzy to our television. Which director?
I don't know. I can try and open it up. I didn't think to grab the dude's name. I forget that every other episode or whatever is directed by a different person. Alan Taylor.
Okay.
Which was the director of one of the most recent
Beyond the Wall.
episodes. Yeah, Beyond the Wall. I guess apparently we're going to avoid spoilers, even though I haven't seen it. Apparently some things take place in the show that really stretch the plausibility of what could actually happen in terms of how much time passed between one event to another.
It's really just a lot of fast travel.
Sure. And people are really slamming it on all forms of social media.
I can understand. This season specifically has been the worst about time travel and time skips. Not time travel, just time skips in general. I haven't gotten to time travel yet.
Well, I mean, I feel like in some regards they have to. They only have, 7 episodes?
Right, but that's the problem is that the show shouldn't have been like this. It should not have been wrapped up in 2 seasons that are short like that. What they should have done is they should have continued, and this one episode, Beyond the Wall,
Sure.
should have been a storyline that should have arced an entire season.
Sure.
But because of the pacing of it, it felt really quick, really thrown together. It didn't feel adequate.
So I have a question, and this is coming from someone who is in no way invested, watched a single episode, or read a single page of Game of Thrones. Is Game of Thrones on the decline? Because I still feel like it's as popular as it ever was.
It is super popular, and it's not on the decline.
Okay, so I guess the reason that I asked that question then is because on some levels, I feel like if you feel like a show is starting to taper off and fail is why you'd want to wrap it up, but I feel like they're doing the exact opposite of what they maybe should do.
Well, I mean, they are doing the exact opposite of what they maybe should do, but it wasn't really, the time skips weren't really a giant problem until this latest episode.
Sure.
The time skips in the previous episodes are oh yeah, okay, so there's maybe 1 or 2 an episode, and you're okay, I can kind of understand them, getting to that point. It would take a bit, but they could get to that point.
Sure.
Now in this latest episode, there were some crazy ass time skips that should not have probably happened. Okay. And it's quite frankly just not appeasing. The episode itself was great. I enjoyed the episode. I've watched it twice now. It's really great. But it doesn't quite feel the same. It almost feels like a movie.
I really wonder why they're trying to cram so much in so quickly.
Because they have so many loose plot points that they have to finish up. And they have up until season 6, right? Before season 6, all 1 through 5, that had all been written in books, so it was easy to follow.
Sure.
Season 6 had not been written in books, So it was, and it had felt, a bit quicker than before. So it felt slightly off, not quite the same, but it was still really good. Season 7 has really accelerated that, and not in a joke way. Like, it's
I'm just
really
curious
sped that shit up.
why that design decision was made, I guess.
Because they are blowing their budget on things like the zombies, so they can't afford to continue, X amount of seasons with X amount of episodes. They can't do 10 episodes anymore. That's why they have 7 this season.
You see, but if it's so big and so popular, I feel like it would be even easier to do those.
Yeah, you would think, but money still rules a lot of things, and no matter as the next season goes by, in order to renew some of those people's contracts, you have to pay even more money.
Sure. Okay. Makes sense. I understand.
6,
Millionaire wife of Trump's Treasury Secretary mocks Oregon mom for not being rich.
This was submitted by West on de Boer to Our Politics.
Yep, so I'm going to just mess up these names real quick. Louise Linton, who is married to Treasury Secretary Steve, I don't know how to say this dude's last name, Mnuchin, Mnuchin?
Mnuchin.
Mnuchin?
Just Mnuchin.
Mnuchin? Cool.
Just Mnuchin.
She had posted a picture onto her Instagram of her getting off of a government aircraft. She had a purse in one hand, a scarf in the other, and had 20 hashtags labeling various parts of her designer outfit. According to the internet, whoever actually calculates people's net worth, Mnuchin has a net worth of $500 million. Someone who was criticizing Linton's photo said, "Glad we could pay for your little getaway." Even though we don't actually know what that, I'm sure we could figure it out, but this article doesn't address what the actual trip was for. It was just on a state transportation. And they responded with, "Aw, did you think this was a personal trip? Adorable. Do you think the U.S. government paid for our honeymoon or personal travel? Lol, 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 lol. Have you given more to the economy than me and my husband, either as an individual earner in taxes or sacrifice to your country?"
Wow.
Yep.
Fuck you. What a bitch.
Yeah, and that's kind of what everyone else felt, too, is like, there was a better way to handle that. A lot better way.
There is definitely a better way to handle that.
So, yeah. Either way, so media outlets and social media itself just kind of blew up, and he was just, calling her out for being essentially just rude. And she has since deleted the post and has apologized for her condescending comment.
Good, because that's fucked up. However, I feel like it's a shallow sorry. A lot of people say sorry only because of backlash. That's fucked up.
You see, and here's the other thing is I don't necessarily feel like saying sorry helps the backlash. Maybe
it really doesn't.
Maybe it helps it end faster. I don't know.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, they said sorry, whatever."
I guess. I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like most people are like, "Oh, okay, it's fine. You apologized." Like, maybe it's just so that people don't keep writing on you because you didn't apologize.
And if your apology's shallow, why even apologize?
I don't know, because it's something for the media to post.
Okay, so Jin said something about the acceleration. But the acceleration allows for faster progression of the storyline, and one of the main reasons why the skip is that the child actors are starting to age out of the roles. But the acceleration allows for faster progression of the storyline. Oh, never mind. He typed it twice. See, the problem I have with that is... The problem I have with that is that people age, and they've shown it in the show. If they're like, "Hey, this happened X months later," I would be okay with that. Even like a little title head.
Sure. I don't know.
5,
Astronomers Without Borders is collecting eclipse glasses and will donate them to South America and Asian schools for Eclipse 2019.
This was submitted by Deriza to Our Space.
So if you weren't aware, by the way, we have eclipses rather often. It's just when they go over America. So the whole thing of that, like, oh, get ready for in 7 years, 2024 is the next eclipse. No, that's wrong. The next eclipse is going to be in 2019. It just won't at all touch America.
Oh, it's going to touch South America.
Well, yeah, no, North America. Apologies for not making the distinction. So if you paid for eclipse glasses, Astronomers Without Borders would like to collect them and send them to South America and Asian schools. So
Nice.
that people that aren't here can still view the eclipse, and with the glasses that are already made to do so.
Good. I like that. That's fucking great. I feel like everyone should get together right now and go and do that. Donate them.
Yeah, if you have eclipse glasses, give them to people.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with them? You're not, let's face it, you're not gonna save them for 7 years. Like, and if you do, power to you, I guess.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
4,
Stranger Things creators confirm season 3 is happening.
This is submitted by Bunyip Pouch to our television.
This is interesting considering season 2 isn't even out yet.
Not only that, they've announced that they plan on ending it in season 4. So
Yep.
theoretically, if this goes well, they'll be able to start up season 4 or announce season 4 beforehand.
Yeah. So season 2 of Stranger Things begins on October 27th of 2017. There is no predictions for dates or anything at all yet for season 3, just that they have already confirmed that season 3 will happen.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, and I think if, with as popular as Stranger Things season 1 was, season 2 will get enough attention that even if it feels like it's beginning to decline, they'll be willing to greenlight season 4 to wrap it up.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's great that they have a concise, idea of when they want to wrap it up. Unlike Game of Thrones, who is just like, oh, fuck, all right, we're wrapping it up in season 8. Sorry, guys.
I guess we're doing it now.
Fuck it.
3,
Who needs to wait until the Winds of Winter and or Dream of Spring? Because, I mean, George R. R. Martin's not fucking writing that book.
No, he's not. This guy is being sued for bringing attention to the shady tactics of a diamond company.
This was submitted by Suitor90 to our videos.
So this is regarding Jacob Worth and Brilliant Earth. Jacob Worth is an upcoming YouTuber. He made a video regarding Brilliant Earth, which is a company online that you can order diamonds from, and basically was calling them out on a scam. They have a product that they sell, which is anyway.
Do it.
Irritation aside. So back onto what I was trying to talk about. And so they certify conflict-free diamonds, which is conflict diamonds are another word for blood diamonds. And those are diamonds that are normally either farmed with slavery or from a country of conflict sold to another country of conflict and then are traded for like war materials, weapons.
Blood diamonds.
Yeah, exactly. And in which case, they were saying that they have certified conflict-free diamonds from Canada. So he ordered one and then like tracked it with the GCI number or I can't remember what the exact number is, what the exact term is. Anyway, he went through all of this work, traveled to several places, went through several avenues, and found out that basically that one, you for the most part can never track where a diamond came from. To the point that they had certification numbers for particular diamonds that were actually being sold from Indian marketers. And when contacted, those marketers had no way to verify where the diamond came from because they got it from a production company. So they're literally just handing out fake certificates to like ease your conscience, I guess, and adding like $2,500 onto the charge for it.
Wow, it's fucked up.
Yeah,
That's kind of how the ivory smuggling business is in Japan, because you can't bring in new ivory into Japan. So what they do is they go and get new ivory, claim it's old family ivory because they don't do as much checking for the government, and they just go out and sell it.
Yeah, and in this case, I mean, so he put out this big Facebook video, YouTube video explaining the whole process he went through to basically prove that they have no way to substantiate their claim that they're conflict-free diamonds. And in response to that, Brilliant Earth has opened up a lawsuit against him, saying that he is associated with gambling and drug trafficking and
Literally just trying to smear his name.
sloshing it every which way that they can, and then taking that lawsuit and giving it to news organizations and encouraging them to run articles on it, further slanderizing his name. And so that's where that currently is right now. Brett in the chat room says, yeah, he plays poker professionally, which is where the gambling thing comes from. Several years ago, he bought 2 domain names, which either were or are now associated with things like drug trafficking. So that's where they're trying to get that connection on for him. And there's a bunch of other things going on. It's in the middle of the lawsuit right now. It's just pretty rough.
I feel like playing poker professionally is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
And it's absolutely stupid that they're trying to slander his name with playing poker professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Negreanu has so many fucking words for you. Same with Jesus Ferguson.
Yep. Either way, I wish Mr. Jacob Worth luck. I mean, there are a lot of shady things that happen on all levels of the corporate world. You found a way to prove that one of them is being shady, and they're fighting you back.
They're literally sticking it in your ass.
Well, and with what they're trying to do now is basically just using because he's a small guy. They're going to try and kill him out with legal fees.
Yeah.
Of like, we have money, you don't. So.
And they're just going to sit there and fucking they're going to continue to do this to anybody who steps up to them.
Yep. So.
And it's fucking absolutely batshit.
We'll see what happens.
2.
Missouri governor stays execution of convicted killer amid new DNA evidence.
This is submitted by What Would Arya Do to our news.
So
I can tell you exactly what she would do.
Speaking of how long stuff takes, this is regarding a gentleman by the name of Marshallus Williams. He went to trial in 2001 and was sentenced. Persecuted? No. Indicted? No. Prosecuted? Sure. Charged. I don't know. He was sentenced to the death penalty for the murder of a woman. But they had very rough evidence at the time, but a substantial number of witness accounts placed him at the scene and as the killer. He always has argued against this, pleading for his innocence, saying that the people that are putting him there are also convicted felons that were more closely associated with the person who died.
Okay, so let me explain to you why testimony is one of the worst things.
Sure.
In science, anything science related, if you witness something happen with your eyes and you go to a science board and tell them what had happened, they're going to ask you for proof. If you say, oh, I saw it happen, it's proof, they're all going to laugh at you until you get off the stage, because testimony doesn't fucking matter when it comes to cold hard facts.
Right.
Exactly. Brett says your mind lies to you. You can sit there and convince yourself literally anything happened.
Yep.
As long as you just sit there and you're like, all right, this happened, it'll fucking happen. Or at least in your memory.
So speaking of science, it's come a long way in the last 16 years, and we were able to do more with DNA evidence today than we were able to 16 years ago. This new DNA evidence is being examined, and it's talking about the DNA that's on the murder weapon. There is a bunch of DNA on it, and none of it seems to be his.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah, and so
I guess testimony is garbage anyways.
So he was supposed to be injected this evening, and that was put on a stay by the Missouri governor. Was it the governor? Yeah, the Missouri governor. For some reason, I want to say the attorney general, but I knew that was wrong. Eric Greitens, who is now also called for what is it called? He has called for a. No, he already got the stay. He is assembling a something. I can't remember the word for it anymore. A board of inquiry. That's what it is. He's assembling a 5-person board of inquiry, basically a third party to completely review and go through all of the evidence to actually figure out what's going on and what the final verdict needs to be. If they decide that they're from what they can determine that he was the killer, then I assume they'll go forth with the death penalty. Otherwise, I mean, I guess he'll be let go after sitting in jail for 20 years.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that this guy gets out for, being innocent, because he was.
Maybe.
Maybe, theoretically. Testimony's garbage. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you can go ahead. We can all attest to that testimony is garbage, but I mean...
Oh, well, all of our testing is garbage anyway.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. You got me with that one.
1.
Couple wins $3.25 million after adopted son is reclaimed by birth parents and then murdered by birth father.
What the fuck? This is submitted by Crap on a Poop Stick to our news.
Yep, this story is terrible, by the way. So just a heads up on that one. This isn't like they went through like an orphanage or anything like that. Like, this was one of those situations of where this couple couldn't have a child. They wanted a child. They found someone that said, "We will help you have a child. I will carry it for you, and once I birth it, you can have the child."
Okay.
Went through that. Child was born. They take the child with them because they're like, "Yay, it's our baby." But apparently the lawyer that was helping them through this entire adoption process never had the biological parents sever their parental rights.
You fucking kidding me?
So after it was like 87 weeks or something like that, they decided they wanted the child back.
Wow. Good job, lawyer. You just fucked it up.
And so because they still had parental rights, because those were never waived, there was nothing that anyone could do. So they had to give the child back. And 5 weeks later, the child was found dead.
That is the worst fucking... Oh, my God. That lawyer should...
Well, and that's what happened. They sued the lawyer for malpractice, and they won in the amount of $3.25 million.
Good, because that's definitely malpractice, and that's completely fucked up.
Yep. Now, obviously, the lawyer is fighting very hard against it. If they ever see that money, it won't be for a very long time because he'll probably fight through 1 million appeal processes because you can drag that out for a really long time. But either way, this is just sad and sucks.
Yeah. No, I'm really pissed this has happened.
Yep. Because someone just didn't do what they were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Sadness. Hey, Nathan.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
What did you care about in the last 24 hours?
In the last 24 hours, I started watching an anime that's really, really good.
Was it?
It's got 7 episodes in it so far, and it's called Made in Abyss.
Was it good?
It's really good. It's about this island that one day, suddenly, this giant-ass fucking hole appeared out of nowhere.
Okay.
These people, in order to go in the hole, you have to be certified to go in the hole by a whistle. Red whistles can only go so far, and then it goes to like blue whistles, black whistles, white whistles can go the deepest. If you are like a red whistle and you go too far, they just leave you for dead. Because at that point, you have suffered the curse of the abyss so much that your mind's broken.
Okay.
Well, the main character, her mother was a white whistle, and she was born in the dungeon, so she permanently has the curse of the abyss in her eyes. Well, on one day when she's out looking for relics from this past civilization that's in the abyss, she finds a robot, and they call him Reg. And Reg is like, "Well, I'm going to help you out because you basically saved me." And she was like, "Okay, cool." Then she gets word that her mother has died in the 6th layer. White whistles usually stop at 5 layers. If they go any deeper, then they usually never come back. So she goes to the 6th layer, but she sends a balloon up with a bunch of writing. And in it, it says, "I'll meet you at the bottom." So now the little girl is like, "I'm going to go to the bottom, even though I'm only a red whistle." And the robot's like, "I can help you."
Huh. All right. Cool.
And I'm excited because I heard it gets pretty dark.
Huh.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Neat. Anything else?
Aside from that, no, I'm pretty over everything.
Cool. That's understandable. I'm over a lot of things too. I'll be really happy when my new computer gets here because I and it might not even actually happen, but I just have this like hope and pray that better, more powerful tech will just solve all of the problems that we continue to experience with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At least my computer wasn't fucking up today.
Yeah, that's helpful.
And my roommate bought new headphones, so he gave me his old headphones, which, if you notice, have been taped together because one side definitely falls the fuck out completely.
Yeah, I had that same problem to the point that we just had to throw them away.
And if it weren't for the fact that I don't have money for better headphones, I would throw these away. And I'm not sure if it's as dark as Madoka Magica. I have to talk to my roommates about that. But Madoka Magica gets fucking dark.
You said it only has 7 episodes right now, so I guess it's hard to...
But I mean, that doesn't mean that they have... My roommate, Emmanuel, has read fucking almost everything he can when it comes to manga. He's read a manga and watched an anime about ballroom dancing.
Cool. So, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Either way.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Otherwise, yeah, that's what I cared about is hope. Like, I sent them an email today about, like, hey, how's it going with the computer thing? And they're like, we have a lot of orders and our warehouse is backed up. You'll get it in, like, 5 days. And I'm like,
oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
5 days is not bad.
I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
I ordered something a while ago that I need to check on now that you mention it.
This is something you can talk about?
I ordered a t-shirt.
Oh, yeah? What's on it?
Yeah. It is a plain white shirt. And
plain white tee?
And it has a fake seatbelt across it.
But you don't drive.
I know. I have a friend who never really wears a seatbelt, so I was like, I'm going to buy you that shirt.
Oh, okay. Well, on that note, let's get out of here. Everybody, if you would like to help support the show, please remember we are $9 away from my terrible-ass white boy rap, and...
I didn't realize we were at $91.
And $59 away from Nathan shaving all of that fur off of his face. Literally all of it.
Yeah, if you guys want to stop me from being Dario Naharis, do it.
Because I don't even know who that is.
Dude, alright, so he's a Taroshi, and everyone in Tyrosh dyes their beard blue and their mustache yellow, and then they braid it.
That sounds delightfully awful.
And then they changed it in the show, and it makes me so fucking angry. I can't handle it.
So, if you would like to see those things happen, please consider donating to us at patreon.com/dailyinternet. Once we get up to high enough amounts, we'll also be doing additional shows each week. We say we're the Daily Dose of the Internet, but we're only here 4 days a week. We are willing to go up to 7 if we get money. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that one. Otherwise, follow us and share us on social media. Get other people in here to listen. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all of those are at iReaditCast. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at Schwahn Michael at basically everything, and Nathan is at Bimmenstein at basically everything.
Not on my Steam anymore. I'm no longer Nearly Headless Nate, and I changed it to Samehime because of depth, and I'm no longer that. I am now Jonathan Joestar, and I do Jonathan Joestar stuff.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I have my Dagger of Luck and Pluck, and I Sunlight Yellow Overdrive all over people.
Okay, sure. I believe you. All right, everybody, that is your 337th dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwahn.
And I'm Jonathan Joestar.
And please remember, everybody.
Don't get eliminated!
Bye.
Bye.
That's what happens when you fuck up and miss the button. Okay, peace.
My stoic face.